Hi everyone. Under this fringe you will find someone called Ali. Yep, I haven't been on for ages. Let me try and get this out of the way. It drives me bloody potty. I was trying to grow the fringe so it would sort of come down like this to here. But it's driving me mental. Half the time I have it stuck up like I was, you know, like little children do, or a little pineapple thing on the top, or sometimes nothing at all, because I've got a great bit, you know, a great big undercut. I've got an undercut. So, you know, I can have all sorts of ways, but this fringe is driving me bonkers. Right, let's see if I can see you enough to tell you about my life and where I've been and why I haven't been vlogging. Part of the reasons I haven't been vlogging is because people were getting so nasty in the areas that I watched. I just felt like if I make a vlog, I'll say something. And I don't want to be one of those people that points out the ridiculousness of other people arguing. Because if you insert yourself like that, then you're bound to get it back at yourself. And I'm not really one for that. I don't like, you know, I don't like being bashed. I was bullied as a kid. I was bullied as an adult. And I refuse to be bullied anymore. And if you do this sort of thing, it opens yourself up to being bullied. And there are some real big characters out there at the moment who really are bullies. But for the most part, I love all of you that I watch. And I just don't watch those that I don't like, mostly. I occasionally have a moment, and I don't know what that's about. They call it hate watching, but I'm sure it's not. I think it's just because I want to see if what the other person has said is actually true. So there I end up watching the person I don't like. How ridiculous is that? Anyway, I haven't been here for a while. I'll tell you a little story about, was it two weeks, 17 days ago. I had a phone call from the Lifeline people that my father has, saying, your father's had a problem. And I thought, he had a fall. And, you know, could I go over? So of course I do. So I went over. Only to find the neighbours with him outside the house. Somehow, my 95-year-old dad, God bless him, decided that he needed to move his empty bin back down the slope that they've got going into their house. It's about 1 in 3, actually. It's really very steep little slope. And Dad hasn't got a lot of vision now. And he tripped over the wheel of the bin and landed, of course, on his hip. And you could see, I could see straight away, I knew he'd broke his hip. It was textbook. His leg was slightly shorter and the foot just sort of went to the side and he couldn't get it up. And any movement was, he said, uncomfortable. He wasn't screaming in pain or anything like that at all. He was just sitting there as if to say, oh, well, bugger, I hope it's not broken. And I'm looking, thinking, yeah, that's broken. Because he tried to stand up initially, and then the leg gave way on him. And he said he realised then that he might have broken something, but he thought maybe, he said, well, maybe it could be dislocated, or maybe it could be, I said, just maybe it could be. I said, I suspect you have got a break, Dad, but let's just, you know, let's just see what they say. Anyway, the ambulance came. The neighbours he's got are absolutely marvellous. I mean, my God, some of his friends that he's got have been fantastic. They've really helped out in all sorts of ways. But by that token, he's got so many friends that look over him and, you know, would just jump to help him at, you know, at a whim, because he helps them, has always helped them, so they just do the same for him. And that means, of course, I've had to sort of got a whole list of people that each week I give an update to of how he's doing. Now, the first couple of days, we heard nothing from the hospital. I tried ringing, and on the second day, I did get through to find out that, no, the first day, sorry, we did get through, and he had broken his hip. So we knew that on the first day, and he was supposed to be going down for an op. He didn't go down because they ran out of time. And I mean, they're crazily busy in the hospitals. That crazy it is. Anyway, he went down the following day, but no one told us that he wasn't having a general anaesthetic. And my fear was that because my father's had bronchiectasis since he was a child, because back in those days he had whooping cough and I think it was pneumonia, and his chest was left damaged from that. Now, that's something you wouldn't get now because, of course, we have jabs. So for Dad to live to 95 with bronchiectasis is very unusual. Back in the 60s, I read online that people died at the age of 50. So it's quite remarkable that with antibiotics the way it is and that, they've kept Dad alive, really. Anyway, that's why I've gone off a bit anyway. So Dad had his operation, but I thought, my God, it's going to be really touch and go whether he makes it through. And I was just crying. I just didn't know what to do. I wanted to know whether or not they would think about an epidural, whether or not that would even happen, or whether they were just going to say, look, it's got to be done. Anyway, I went in to see Dad the next day. I'm the only person that's allowed in. It's one visitor for 1 hour, and it has to be a dedicated person. So obviously it's me. And I went in and I was asking him questions and chatting, and I thought he'd be all a bit sort of, like out of it, because he'd need time to come around from his anaesthetic. And he said, oh no, dear, he said, when I asked him, why are you so good? Why are you so compos mentis? I said, my God, I said, you can even remember the exact amount of money you've got in your purse that you want me to take home. I said, how come? He said, oh no, dear, I didn't have a general anaesthetic. I've got no recovery to do. All right, I said, but, so you had it with an epidural? Yes, this is marvellous, really. Now, they must have given him something to relax him, because I said, wasn't it noisy? And he said, well, I can't hear, can I? And that's true. He's virtually deaf, completely. Well, without his hearing aids, it's stone deaf. So with hearing aids, he can get a little bit. So everyone has to shout at him or write down what they're saying. So he said, no problem at all. He said, actually, he said, I was having a dream and, I was counting numbers. Anyway, he also told me that, of course, there's no recovery time. So that was a good thing. And I thought, oh, my God, is this going to make it? I literally thought everybody that I know, they'd said, if your dad breaks a hip and he's elderly, chances are, and I thought with Dad's chest condition, I think we're on I just thought he's not going to make it. And because I didn't want to be negative, I wanted him to make it, but I couldn't believe it. So here was this man barking orders at me, of course. Not really. No, he was very, very sweet and very, he did look very frail. And he'd also got a chest infection. So they gave him antibiotics for 7 days. He's now up in a ward. He moved up there about 3 days ago. No, I think it must have been 2 weeks of antibiotics. And then upstairs, he's now in a different ward, which is not the acute ward. It's the one where, it's not the rehabilitation ward. It's a sort of in-between house, I told him he was in a halfway house. Anyway, he's got his own room in there. It's really quite nice. And, of course, he's pretty bored because he just wants to potter around his house. But he doesn't have the strength now. This is the problem. Once you lie in bed, it's remarkable how quick your muscles waste. and he'd also lost over a stone. So really, that's 7 kilograms for those that work in kilograms. It really was, it's been quite distressing to see how exhausted he is. And just getting up to walk, I don't know, 15 foot there and back with the walker is about it. And he's exhausted, but at least he can get himself to the loo now. It's all a bit hairy at the moment. We're not quite sure. We want to get him home. Because he said, oh, maybe I'll have to go into old people's home. I said, no, I don't think so. I said, we'll employ someone to get into the house. Because the moment, and this is another thing I know about people when they're old, once they go into an old people's home, they haven't got their own surroundings. They can become really sort of disorientated and just, I don't know, forgetful maybe. I don't know. They just don't seem to be themselves. And Dad is a really clever man. He's got a great brain on him, and he's just lovely. He's a really sweet guy. And so I'd like to get him home, but he really needs to come back to Andover to the rehab clinic to get stronger. And he doesn't like the food there. Don't tell anybody, but he just doesn't like the food in hospital. And he said, at least you could bring something into me. I mean, it's not like he likes Chinese and things like that, but, you know, I don't know what you thought I was going to bring into him. Fish cakes or, I don't know. But anyway, Dad's quite a fussy eater, so he doesn't really like the food there. But I think part of it is just not hungry. And he's not a great food. I mean, I would live to eat. He eats to live. And there's a huge difference, as you know. And I think that I've watched him, and a few days ago, I thought, oh no, he looks so frail, and he really did feel like giving up. But the last few days, he's picked up so well. And I've told people, people that I chat with on YouTube, and you've all been so, so lovely. People sent prayers, people sent best wishes, great vibes, you know, and I really felt very touched by that. So I want to thank anybody that did do that. That was really nice. And so we've had a really busy time. We've been, the hospital he's in is about 20 miles away. So each day it's 20 miles there, 20 miles back. Doesn't sound much, but when you're doing that 7 days a week and you spend 1 hour, and of course you've got a face mask up, and you go into the hospital, you know, you put a face mask on and it's got to be theirs. And then, and you wipe your hands. I go up onto the ward, and the moment that I'm buzzed through, I'm not allowed in a minute before that hour. So I usually get there. By the time I put another face mask on, which they want me to take the one off that I just put on downstairs, and then wash and do my hands again, and then go in to see Dad. And then I take my face mask down because Dad wouldn't be able to hear anything. He's literally lip reading me the whole time. Even the doctor has given up. They all speak with their masks on. He hasn't got a clue what they're saying. And even the doctor gets his mask off and she's shouting at him I'm sure that every bay must know what I'm talking about to Dad. I did wonder when it was in the other part of the hospital whether or not, because it was open and 6 blokes in a ward, when he was on the acute ward, I thought, oh my God, they must think, oh, I've got to listen to her for a frigging hour yelling at her Dad. But they were all really cool, actually, so they were really nice. So that's what Simon and I have been doing. Simon's been doing all the driving because I don't like motorway driving. He's not a better driver by any stretch of the imagination. He's just got more guts to do it. I hate it. I just hate it. I'll do it, and I can do it, but I just don't want to. And Simon said that he'd never forgive himself if I was to drive to see my dad. And some days I've come back very upset. So he said, you shouldn't be driving like that. And he's right. I know he's right. But you know, I don't like to see, you know, Simon exhausted too from all the driving. Anyway, it's only 40 miles a day. People do that well, twice that to get to work every day and back and do a full day's work. So really, it isn't that much. It's just, it is for us because we're not used to it. So if he comes back to the place in Andover, we'll be all right. We'll be able to get there in about 10 minutes. It'll be lovely. It's been very tough, you know. When you've got elderly parents, they can be very direct about their impending death, you know, especially when they're thinking about it. And they can be quite direct. And even though you know that at some point in their life, of course they're going to die, and you know the older they get, the more likely it is, you still don't want it to happen. You just, you know, you just think, oh, I hope they get better. Now, my father's defied the odds on several occasions now where we thought that's it. In fact, 3 years ago, he had pneumonia. We thought, no way, he was in hospital. And he had to spend, about 4 weeks again in the Andover rehab because he was so tired. So it's going to be interesting. We've got a long journey ahead of us. I say us because I feel I'm all a part of this hip break. I don't know what it is, but when Dad comes and he says, when I go in to see him, he goes, before I forget, and I think, I get a pen and paper out and I write down everything that I'm supposed to have remembered. And then he gives me lists of things to do. For instance, he's got a water softener. He decided, I don't know how many days he'd been in hospital, perhaps only 3, that he might need more water softener so as to go and get some salt. And I thought, you know, in the scale of things, this doesn't seem to be the thing that should be the priority. But he was lying in bed. He's got nothing else to think about. So I dutifully got water softener. What else did I get? Oh, I've been getting all sorts of things. Reading matter for him. He likes certain papers. They come in at certain days. So I have to go to his house, which is about 3 miles away. So go to his house, come back. And then, of course, after the visit, he's probably said to me, oh, please, could you go and do such and such in the house? So I'll go back to the house. And then before I know it, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon before I'm eating because I just don't think about it that much until then. And then I think, and then I binge. And I binge eat because I want to push those feelings down, those feelings of anxiety, of course, that come with all this. But today was a much more uplifting day. I had a good chat with Dad. He seems much better, despite the fact that he hates the food. And I want to thank everybody for their well wishes and their kindness. And that is something that when you're around a community, although I'm not really always in the drama community, I sometimes go to, I sometimes go over to the Boy area, and sometimes I find myself in another area. I have no idea what that area is. So I'm sort of here, there and everywhere. But I just see the people that I know, see regularly and say hi to them. And they've been really lovely when they give support. So being on YouTube is not all bad. I started out by saying how there was so much bullying going on and I was unhappy about this, but it's not all bad, not at all. And when you get chatting to someone in a chat, or if you recognise them, even when they say hello, they're noticing you're there, and you say hi back, how are you? And you may not get any in-depth conversation, but it's so nice to have people around that, people, who are watching same chats, having a chat with you. So YouTube is not all bad. Swerve the bullies if you can. And this is my vlog update. I'm sorry if it was like a bit stuttery, but my brain is everywhere. Today was a good day though. Fingers crossed it carries on for Dad like this. I want to get him home. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Bye.